On today's throwback, we're having a look at the NECA Toys Seed of Chucky box set. Though you will not find a box set anywhere in this review because Spot's already had a look at these figures before, wanted to go back and have a look at them again because despite the fact that there are hiccups with this figure set, there are a lot of hiccups. Still one of my favorite Child's Play releases. Kind of wish that NECA will go back and eventually someday maybe give us an ultimate Chucky. Oh, fingers crossed, that'd be so cool if they did. But in the meantime, we can appreciate figure sets such as this, again, despite the fact that there are hiccups galore with these three figures. Why don't we first have a look at some of the accessories that come included with the three figures, and then we'll have a look at the figures themselves. First things first is an axe. A red-handled axe with silver on the blade itself. I don't know why, but I've got this goop all over the accessories. I'm not sure what it's from. Probably just the way it was packaged. It had the tape. If you remember, the tape would have been attached to the clamshell innards, and maybe the tape just has left a residual on there. But he comes with an axe, or any of them come with an axe. There goes Glen. There's one of the problems right there. Comes also with a carving serrated knife. Again, with this goop everywhere. Spot's had these packed away and wanted to bring them out because, again, there's some of my favorite figures. I wanted to go back and have a look at them again. Comes with a serrated knife. It's not sharp. Oh, no, it's not. It's not sharp. I always do that in videos. One of these days I am going to do that. I'm so sorry. Comes with a little serrated knife. Another kitchen knife. A turkey baster with something on the end of the turkey baster. I think Spot's actually looked at this set now twice before. But again, new lighting, new backdrop. I wanted to have a look at them again just because of some personal favorites of mine. A little turkey baster. And Chucky's amulet. Damballa awake, give me the power, I command it. I've now recently, probably in the last couple of days or so, recently gone back and started re-watching some of Child's Play right from the beginning. I'm right up now to Bride of Chucky. I kind of wanted to go them in sequence. The amulet's a nice touch. Really up to Bride of Chucky, this amulet doesn't even exist. And there's the back of it. Real chain too, which is a nice touch. Okay, so there's accessories. Now, you will see one problem with all of these figures, and it's something I've talked about before, is the clear peg syndrome. I'm sure somebody else has made that term up. I can't take any credit for it. But NECA notorious for, and mostly NECA, other companies have done this before, but mostly NECA notorious for some of their older released figures all using clear plastic as pegs. You may not understand the long-term ramifications of using clear plastic, but let me assure you, clear plastic eventually becomes brittle. And especially when you have it on a hinge joint, it's prone to basically breaking every single time, guaranteed. In fact, right now, you may not realize it, but your figures, your older figures that have the clear plastic eventually will break on you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but that's essentially what will happen. I have not glued these back in. And if you saw my review of, I'm trying to think of what review I touched base, oh, the Evolution of Evil Halloween box set. The same problem I had with young Michael Myers too. Pegs broke completely off. The reason why I haven't glued them though, you can sit them back in their sockets. And I won't lie to you, Glen's not the only one that has broken pegs in this review. I'll leave it to you to decide what is broken on these figures. But I have left the pegs unfixed for the simple reason that, at least with NECA Toys, the older figures, some finessing involved, yes, but you can move their arms. And it's just a matter of kind of sitting the socket back in place to kind of keep everything intact. If I was to glue that, unless I can be very exact with my glue job, what I may ultimately end up doing then is gluing them straight, or whatever pose I put them in, and then I would not be able to move them. So one of the reasons why I did not glue the joints in place was simply because I wanted to be able to move the arms. The one exception is with Chucky, and I'll talk about him in a second. Actually, you know what? Let's put Glen's arms in place. Glen's really the least favorite of my figures in this set. And we'll put Glen right there. He also has a horrendous job of standing. I'll talk about that in a second. Actually, you know what? I'll just lay him down. We'll just give up on this. We'll give up on the efforts to try to get this guy to stand. First things first, let's have a look at Chucky. One of my favorite Chucky figures. There really isn't a lot of Chuckies. Truth be told, there's the McFarlane Chucky, originally from Movie Maniacs. Wasn't a bad figure. I've yet to actually review him. There was the Bride of Chucky box set that came with Tiffany and Chucky, also from McFarlane Toys. And then you had the Cult Classics, I believe it was Series 4 from NECA, which gave us the Child's Play 3 Chucky, which we're going to be eventually looking at in a throwback as well. And then you had the Seed of Chucky set. I think of all the sets, this is probably the more realistic Chucky. The Cult Classics Series 4 was also a strong contender too for realistic Chucky, but if you like it Chucky from the scarred Bride of Chucky onward, I think this is the better figure personally between the McFarlane and this one, just because this one has more realistic coloring, where I find McFarlane's just did not deliver that. It was a very dingy, kind of almost faded out plastic color that they used for the skin. It just didn't work for me. It just did not come together as well as it should have. So this one is still a strong contender for the best Chucky that has come out in figure form. He's got the real doll hair, and you can see how it's stitched on the side, stapled on the side I should say, just exactly the same as how he appears in the Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. Which I might end up doing is just try to bring the hair up a little bit, because I love showing off the stapled side of the head. I think that's a nice touch, so I'll try to get it up as high as I can. I might even try to do the same on the other side, but it was more predominant on the one side than it was on the other. But his face, I think you can agree, is still one of the strongest Chucky figures that we have gotten. Paint's quite nice for a very old figure. This figure I think is almost about 10 years old. Might even be older, but it's got just a really scarred, stapled up, stitched together face. So iconic of Chucky. I know I love the original Chucky look, but when you start incorporating like the staples and everything else to it, it's really when this doll looks really cool. His good guy outfit also as badly damaged as his face, now stitched together. The casualty of a carnival fan from Child's Play 3. Poor Chucky did not fare well, although Chucky has not fared well in any of the movies. And then he got married, and then he knew what real torture was. But on the back, his good guy outfit still very dingy, dark. Still the same body as well from the Child's Play 2 Chucky, which in the movie, Chucky basically gets himself a new body. So from that point on, it's the same good guy outfit. Just complete gash mark right down the side there, which is a nice touch. Really like it. I initially commented that I felt his arms were a little too on the long side, but I guess theoretically if you bend the arms on Chucky, which I'll show you in a second, it doesn't look as long as it maybe might look here with his arms straight. Chucky is unfortunately plagued with problems when it comes to clear plastic joints. I think this one arm's not too bad. See if I'll bend the arm here, you can see what I'm talking about. Maybe his hands might be a little on the long side, and maybe that might be what's throwing off the proportions of what his arms should look like. But I think when you bend the arms, it doesn't look as bad as when the arms are long. But I think this arm, yes, this arm right here, clear peg. Ugh. But you see, if I had told you that that arm was completely intact, you would have believed me. You would have said, Spot, I believe you. You're a good guy yourself. I'll believe exactly what you tell me. But let me assure you, it's broken right off. I will not glue it, because as you can see, I can still move the arm. Oh yeah, something's wrong with the head. You can still move the arm and just kind of put it back in its socket, so I'm going to keep it for that reason. However, when it comes to Chucky's head, oh, so sad. Chucky's head, there's a close-up look on him. Close-up look of his face. But, clear peg syndrome once again, except now the culprit, or the casualty I should say, is the ball joint that pegged poor Chucky's head to said socket in his neck. I did a lot of pressure pushing, there we go, to get the head into place. But it's not as easily fixed, I would say, as the arm. So in a head like this, I probably will just glue it. I'll call it a day, I'll just glue it, because truthfully, it doesn't bother me that I can't move the head. Would I ever want to move Chucky's head? Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Not enough, though, to lose a lot of sleep over. So a good, solid outing. Great looking Chucky. Wish he didn't have the clear pegs, but maybe one day, maybe NECA will give us, you know, a new Chucky. The ultimate Chucky. Oh, that'd be so cool. So we have Chucky. We'll put him right there. Whoop, and try not to get him to fall. He doesn't have any problems standing. I don't know why he collapsed the way he did. There we go. Let's have a look at Tiffany. Something doesn't feel right about her head either. I don't know. Something feels like it could be broken. It's just really loose. I don't know. Maybe it's not broken. Let's just leave it be and hope that it's going to be okay. Second release of Tiffany, theoretically. First release also was the Bride of Chucky box set from McFarlane Toys. Much better job. I don't have the comparisons here. I don't have the other one here from McFarlane Toys, but take my word for it. This one just has richer looking color to it. She's got the tattoo right there. Her bridal gown that she wears from Bride of Chucky, complete with choker collar. It's a great looking figure though. Also has the real doll hair. Kind of like Chucky, I might manipulate it just a little bit more because I feel like in the movie it's just a little bigger. But something feels off on that head. The head feels way too loose, as you can see. Super detailed. Oh, there goes Chucky. Super detailed. Stay, Chucky. Right there. There we go. Super detailed, though, on Tiffany. Right down to the finest of details. The little fingernails are also painted in. The figure on the underside does have fully sculpted legs. Also looks like she's got maybe fishnet stockings. I'm not quite sure. This is all soft rubber, but doesn't hinder at all that she stands. Chucky and her theoretically stand the best. Chucky, for some reason in this video, he just wants to collapse on me. But there you have the happy couple. Theoretically, you could just really just pair the two of them side by side. Leave Glen completely off, depending on how you feel about Glen. Kind of just on the fence, really. But you can have the two happy, bickering couple right there. And then the bundle of joy, Glen. Which I won't lie, least favorite figure of this whole set. He's just got a real creepy look to his face. In the movie, I don't feel like his hair is as long in the back. I feel like there's not as much of a party in the back that he has in the movie. But NECA opted to give him just a big hair. Kind of also looks like David Bowie, which I'm sure if I was speaking with my past self, that's what my past self would have said in the video review as well. Kind of looks like David Bowie. Just this dark kind of shadow around the eyes. Just not crazy. Really not crazy about the design of Glen as a whole. He's creepy in the movie. Figure-wise, it carries over. Just not crazy about the design. As you've already seen, he's got problems with his arms. His head still is intact. Whew. Lucky it's the figure I like the least. Seems to have no problems with his head. But for some reason, NECA sculpted his legs so close together that it makes it almost next to impossible. There goes his arm. And there goes Chucky. It makes it almost next to impossible to get him to stand properly. It's such a shame, too. He doesn't have any peg holes on the undersides of his feet, so I can't really accommodate it with a display stand. Although I guess the display stand gives him at least more stable footing that he could have something to stand on. Why they had to make his legs so close together is beyond me, but it does make him very, very difficult to pose. For the most part, the articulation is really all about the same on all three figures. Some a little more, some a little less. They all have ball joints in the head, which... couldn't Chucky have had a strong ball joint in the head? No, Glen's got to get it. The one I like the least. Hinge shoulders, which, as you can see, they would hinge forward and back, but just have broken off over the course of time and collecting. They have rotations in the hands. You might find yourself doing this, or if you have not, and you've got it sealed away in your leg spot, you know what? Mine seems okay, it seems okay right now. Go back to it now, or have a look at them in a few years' time. They might have the same problem. It's one of Spot's personal favorite horror figures, I guess, of my collection. Still by far the best Chucky, still by far the best Tiffany, and then we just got Glen, who's... A lot of times I don't even display Glen. I packed these guys away since, but if I ever put these guys back on display, Glen, I think I would just relegate to maybe a tote somewhere, and I just keep the happy couple out instead. Today's throwback, we were going back and we were having a look at the NECA Toys Seed of Chucky box set. Still one of Spot's favorite release of Chucky's. Stay tuned. Spot's going to have more throwbacks in your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.